Welcome back to Network Africa. The Italian Coast Guard says it has rescued some 800 migrants from flimsy rubber boats today as Libya-based people smugglers take advantage of a window of good midwinter weather to send them to sea. A total of 6 rubber boats in international waters of the coast of Libya were rescued. After several days of rough seas, weather conditions improved on Wednesday evening and are expected to remain calm until this evening. Last year, a record 181,000 boat migrants, mostly from Africa, reached Italy. The majority paid Libyan people traffickers to make the journey. Zimbabwe's government has ordered the immediate suspension of the sharp increase in the price of mobile phone data following a public outcry. The ICT minister says the shockingly high increase showed insensitivity towards Zimbabweans and reflected gluttonous corporate greed. The telecom regulator came under fire from the public yesterday for putting up the price of mobile data by more than 100%. Meanwhile, Zambia's economy has been growing at a sluggish rate, averaging 3% per annum since copper prices dipped 2 years ago. The cost of living and doing business has been soaring in the process as the country faces economic challenges after the government cut fuel subsidies last year, causing a 39% price hike in petrol.
Rising food and transport costs have made life difficult for many Zambians in recent months as the country feels the effects of a drop in demand for copper that has in turn left the economy struggling. Zambia is Africa's second biggest producer of copper, which is the mainstay of its economy. With prices near 6-year lows, mining companies have closed mines and cut thousands of jobs. Zambia's currency, the kwacha, fell more than 2% in value in August, as data showed China's demand for copper has slumped 14% in July last year. In the capital, Lusaka, Wheat Basket Bakeries is no longer selling bread as much as it used to.
The fuel increase in the food production has affected us in so many ways because we have to buy our flour from millers who also buy grains from farmers who use farming equipment which usually use fuel. So the cost of production is high. At the end of the day, they pass it on to the people who buy flour from them. So when we buy flour from the millers, we bring it here. We also have to cover the fuel costs. So in the due course, we find that we also put a small increase on the finished product, which is the bread and the rolls.
Zambia spent more than $200 million on fuel subsidies between January and September this year, an unsustainable burden in the treasury, according to the Energy Ministry.
The cost of living in Zambia has actually risen so high that usually I find myself spending more than 50% of my income just to travel to and from work. And also the fact that in 2017 there's an anticipated increase in the electricity tariffs.
The country's economy was expected to grow only 3% in 2016, largely unchanged from the previous year due to electricity shortages and subdued private sector investment.
The logistical cost of doing government business will go up, roughly equivalent to the price increase. And this will be a permanent change in the cost, so the government has to figure out how to reduce its spending because of the price hike, among other things. A big impact will obviously be on the private sector, on production. Again, transport is such a big cost or component in production, and so the fuel hike means that prices of production, costs of production have to go up.
Zambia's struggling economy is forecast to pick up this year as copper prices recover and inflation slows sharply, giving the central bank room to cut interests.
Egypt's currency drop has hit the cost of medicines, prompting consumers to resort to local herbal remedies that are cheaper and more accessible than imported drugs. Take a look.
Egypt's spice dealers have seen their customers grow, as people turn to herbal remedies amid an acute medicine crisis. A series of economic measures have hit medicine supply in pharmacies and increased the cost of some generic and even life-saving medication. Early last year, a lack of foreign exchange made it difficult for pharmaceutical companies to import ingredients needed to make generic medicines, which millions of poor Egyptians rely on. In May, the Health Ministry raised the price cap on medicines that cost up to 30 Egyptian pounds by 20% in an effort to address drug shortages. In November, Egypt floated its currency, abandoning a peg of 8.8 pounds to the US dollar and allowing the currency to roughly halve in value. Many ordinary people, such as factory worker Mohammed, are no longer able to afford medicines. Medicine has become very expensive and I can't afford it. 2 vertebrae in my back are causing me pain, and I always come here to the herbal store where I get oils and medical herbs which help me relax. Medicine is very expensive and it has side effects which the government doesn't know how to solve. From insulin shots to medication for stroke and even some common painkillers have become difficult to find. Meanwhile, patients say their substitutes have harmful side effects. Herbal store owner Sami Altar says a knowledgeable spice dealer can find substitutes for drugs treating almost all non-terminal illnesses. It's about 70 to 80%. 70 or 80% is the percentage of demand for natural treatment which stimulate the immune system and which fight off viruses. For example, if someone suffers from kidney disease, he can buy camel's hay, which is also exported. We advise people that they should deal with someone who is knowledgeable. Egypt's cost of living is also on the rise. In cities and towns, food and beverage inflation touched 28.3% in December. Healthcare inflation stood at 32.9%, while transportation was 23.2%.
Finally on the program, Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has condemned the killings in some parts of Nigeria in the name of religion. Professor Soyinka made this comment in Abuja on Thursday at a book presentation on religion and the making of Nigeria, written by Professor Olufemi Vaughan. The event, which was also attended by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, attracted a lot of other dignitaries. Professor Soyinka believes that for Nigeria to move on, there must be religious tolerance.
Now, the sitting president of this nation, General Buhari, once said, if we don't kill corruption in this nation, corruption will kill us. Now, I would like to transfer that cry from the moral zone to the terrain of religion. If we do not tame religion in this nation, religion will kill us. You see, I do not say kill religion, though I wouldn't mind a bit if that mission could be undertaken surgically, painlessly, perhaps with a furtive, under anesthesia, furtively sprayed all over the nation, or perhaps during an induced bout of religious ecstasy. However, one has to be realistic. Religion is now embedded in the human genome, and it's futile to bemoan its presence. Nonetheless, I think only the religiously possessed or committed will deny the obvious. The price that many have paid, not just within this society, but by humanity in general, makes one wonder if the benefits have really been worth.
And that's it on Network Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Temitope Fagbemi.